Good evening, Bearcat Nation. How are we? It's a Monday where the Cincinnati Bearcats knocked off the number 2 team in the country. It's a Monday where up next is number 1. It's a Monday where 2 assistant coaches get a promotion to be co-offensive coordinators. It's a Monday where nobody's wearing a bag over their head. It's a Monday where, let's be honest, Brent's in Miami watching the Hoosiers playing the national championship game. That's where we're at. And where we're waiting for Ryan Royer to get here to start the show. So as a result, we begin this Bearcat Bounce podcast with just the 2 of us. The last 2 people that you've seen on this channel. Saturday, Aftermath, recapping the Bearcats' win over Iowa State. Sunday, Nightcap, talking about all the happenings in the Big 12 in basketball over the weekend. And now Monday, here we are again, Aaron Smith and I, as the national championship game happens in Miami. We're here to talk about the Bearcats because that's what we do, Aaron. We're dedicated to the craft. And I'm tempted. Look, we got a couple ad reads. Just read a couple ad reads. Do the mailbag. We'll get out of here.
Sorry.
Speaking of late, Ryan Royer here to join us tonight. Ryan, were you at? Did you need maybe an oil change? Maybe needed your brakes checked. Maybe you've spent the last couple hours hanging out with Danco Joe at Danco Transmission, dancotransmission.com.
Yeah, I need to get in there this week because I was up in Chicago this weekend, so I just put a smooth 600 miles right there, and I'm over my 5,000 miles since last time I was over there with Danco. So I'm gonna be over there getting the top-notch service.
Well, if you need that oil change, you need a service on your car, all you have to do, go to Danco Transmission, mention Ryan Royer, mention Aaron Smith, mention Wes Miller, maybe mention Baba Miller, and you'll get 10% off your next service. So go see our good friends at Danco Transmission, and they will get you taken care of.
You're doing a pretty good Brent impersonation.
Oh,
Chad.
You missed the opening. How are we? It's a Monday where the Bearcats beat number 2. It's a Monday where 2 days from now the Bearcats can beat number 1.
I love it.
How are we, guys? How was the weekend? How are things?
My family came in to visit, so I got to hang out with my nieces and sister and brother-in-law and my mom. They came to visit. They stayed last night into today, so I got to hang out with them yesterday and today. So some cousin time for the girls, and yeah, just other than that, pretty low-key weekend.
Ryan?
I was in Chicago. I got there Thursday evening, and I just got back. So
were you hanging out with your family?
I did see Alec Friday night. We did a little link up. Got to spend some time with him and some of his buddies that he grew up with over there. But yeah, it was a great weekend. Got to be in Chicago for the Bears game, and that city was buzzing, and didn't really turn out well for him though, but it was a cool environment to be a part of. And then throw the Bearcats slaying a giant on top of that. I watching it, my buddy's apartment on the TV, and none of them really knew much about Cincinnati. They don't own Cincinnati basketball. They're like, why are we watching this? I was like, hey, just shut up, right? what's happening here is very, very unexpected right now. So we're going to sit here and watch it.
You're watching the number 2 team in the country get beat by the Bearcats.
Yeah.
Calm down, relax. Phil, Brent is not a double agent IU fan. He's an IU alum. That has long been known. Raised a Bearcat, always been a Bearcat fan, but he graduated from Indiana. So relax. And also, Phil Castellini, boo, boo.
I saw that. They're probably like, why did we sign with these fans? It booed.
Because they got paid.
There's a 0% chance that's actually Phil, right?
No, I don't think so. But if so, boo. Xavier's the official team of the Cincinnati Reds, and they booed you? Ha 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 ha. All right, Ryan, let's get it started. Aaron and I have given our thoughts on the Bearcats taking down the Cyclones of Iowa State. Let's hear your thoughts watching the game in Chicago with interested parties or not interested parties, one of the two.
They were rooting for them. They just didn't have much allegiance. So I got them, I convinced them that what they were watching was a good thing. Yeah, I was very surprised because it was like it seemed like they corrected almost every single mistake that they would always fall into in those in the bigger games against the better teams. You know, they didn't go if they were able to kind of, you know, right when things were getting a little wary there, it was like cut down to 7, got down to 5. Like we were able to string together buckets by good offensive action that we haven't seen, you know, in all those other matchups against good teams. But yeah, I just felt that the team, I was so proud of Wes and the team just because like that's a good Iowa State team. I know that they lost the game before, but that's a program that's always been, you know, they've had a lot of positive momentum. They have a lot of good players and their players, like that guy in the second half, he started filling it up from 3 and you're like, this has every recipe for, you know, the Bearcats finding a way to lose, but you know, they stuck the course. They played really solid basketball. They played high energy basketball, solid defense for the most part. And they were able to pull out a win. And it just looked like a completely different Bearcats team. So things that we weren't able to see them do. And we thought maybe they just don't have it. I mean, they kind of showed that they can go out there and beat good teams because they have a good roster and they can just execute, keep playing that top 10 defense and, you know, get good action on offense, especially in critical conditions, that they can go out there and play with some of the best of them and actually win. So I was very proud. I was proud that the way they've responded, you know, since the whole like brown bag thing, starting off 0-3 and really like rallying around like Wes and the players all rallying up together and, you know, playing a lot better basketball and starting to get this thing going the right way. So I was very, very proud and happy and makes me more excited for these games coming up because, boy, if they would have dropped they would have dropped the Colorado and then Iowa State, it was doable. Going out west, it doesn't look very good. Now you got freaking great momentum coming. I think guys, you can see them start to believe a little bit more in themselves. Still got a tall ass task though. I mean, Arizona is better than Iowa State, and you're going to be at their place. You don't get a little bump now from Fifth Third Arena. So,
yeah.
But you know, momentum's a crazy thing, man. If teams can catch it and keep playing hard, playing good defense, that's always going to keep you with an ability to be in a game versus a good team if your offense is shooting the ball well and having good action. So.
Not a knock on anything you're saying, Ryan, but they got a little bit of momentum themselves. Arizona, that is. They've won 18 straight.
Yeah. Yeah. They're the best team in the country, and you got to go to their place. 5-hour flight. It's not a good recipe when a team's like, man, we're playing pretty good. Let's keep stringing some wins together. It's like throwing an Arizona trip right in the middle of that.
Well, yeah, that's the fun of playing in the Big 12. You get Arizona and then, you know, Arizona State, which you should be able to handle. Then Baylor at home, and then Houston. So boom, another, in basically in a 2.5 week span, they're going to get Iowa State, Arizona, and Houston.
Yeah, 3 top 10 teams
between now and the end of the month.
Yeah.
So, but then it does ease up a little. West Virginia at home, UCF at home, Kansas State on the road, Utah at home. If you can get through this stretch, if you can get through these 4 games with 2 wins. So if you can get, let's say, Arizona and Baylor, right?
Arizona State,
or Arizona State and Baylor. So you go 2-2. So that would put you at what, 4-5?
Yeah.
Then you get a stretch. You could maybe get on a little win streak where all of a sudden, if you're 8-5 in the Big 12, the stretch after that, Kansas, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, BYU, TCU to end the season is really difficult.
Yeah.
But if you can get to 8 before you hit that stretch, all of a sudden it's not completely out of the realm of possibility. It's going to be really, really hard from here. They've put themselves in a massive hole.
Well, you also bring up Kansas and Texas Tech in that stretch. Who knows what those two teams look? Well, I'm saying Kansas and Texas Tech at the end. Who knows what those two teams look like at the end of February, because they're both playing 6 dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Peterson's already got a lingering hamstring issue he's been dealing with.
Yeah.
For Kansas. So.
Yeah, and we'll have Kerr back. Maybe we'll have, who knows? Maybe we'll have Slime. It's good to have McKinley. I mean, McKinley being back, I feel like is been a big boost.
The interesting thing is, Ryan, Bart Torvik, the analytics site, in their rankings since Jizzle James has come back, where do you think Cincinnati is in the country over that stretch in that specific analytic ranking?
For offense?
No, as a team.
What are we like? We were in the 50s in Ken Palm, right?
Yeah.
Right
but
now.
But I'm just talking since the what was that, the Alabama State game, or since the
Alabama State was first.
Yeah. His first game back. Since Alabama State, they are 27th in the country.
All right. That's a lot better. Yeah.
So they've been playing at a level. Well, and a lot of it is they're playing great defense, and now the offense isn't a disaster. It's still not good, but it's not an unmitigated disaster. So a lot of these games, because you feel confident that your defense is going to play well, you're at least going to hang in the vicinity and have a chance to win some of these games. Do I think they're going to win enough to get to 12-6, even 11-7 in the Big 12? Probably not. It's a really, especially when you lose your first 3, and then you're looking at, you got 15 games left and you can only lose 3 or 4 of them the rest of the way. Like, it makes the challenge very daunting. Like, again, though, Aaron, it feels like deja vu the last 3 years. We're going to be looking back at West Virginia and at UCF and saying, if they could have won those 2 games, that West Virginia, they had one and they pissed it away. UCF, nip and tuck, back and forth, all the way to the end. If you win one of those, or if you win both of those, then the conversation we're having is an entirely different conversation. So,
well,
yeah, I mean, if you play, go ahead, Aaron.
I was just gonna say, let's consider the fact that beating Iowa State only cancels out the fact that you lost to Eastern Michigan. Those cancel each other out now. So you still have these other losses that you've got to worry about. So granted, you beat number 2, but that's only good enough to cancel out Eastern Michigan, because that loss is terrible. as you were, Ryan.
Who's Brian? Never met Brian before. Ryan, what are your thoughts on our zone offense?
It doesn't seem very sophisticated. I love
it was
when
really good against Colorado. The zone off against Colorado is outstanding.
I'd like to see a little bit more like set screen action, whether it be up high on one of the two at the top or like down low. Like we don't seem to have much sophistication in our offense, whether it be zone offense or man offense, but we've been playing better. But I'd like to see a little more set plays involving screening certain guys, getting the ball high to low. But you know, I'm not a savant of zone offense much at all. So
there's really not a lot of zone offense in college. There's like 4 plays that people run against zone. Yeah. Most of them, the key is just get the ball to the high post and then make the defense react, work baseline, make the defense contract, and then kick out to open shooters if you don't get a shot at the rim. Like, zone offense is not that complicated. Why they were so bad at it for so long, probably because you don't have enough shooting to really test. Like, remember when
in the Big 12?
Yeah, I mean, teams are just going to say, okay, we dare you to take wide open threes. And
with
good
Baba
luck.
Miller.
Yeah. So, but the Colorado zone, they got the ball to Baba on the high post, and Baba's such a good facilitator that he can take that shot. He can push you towards the rim, make the bottom of the zone, react to him, then make a good pass, or, you know, hit a 7-8 foot shot. They've gotten better at that as they've started to utilize Cham and Baba more in that free throw line area that causes so much problems for the defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at, Mark. It's the teams that pack in the zone. They can't shoot over it. They can't shoot them out of it because they're daring you to shoot at that point in time. Please shoot. What helped against Colorado is they played an extended zone. I thought, Mark, I don't know that it was extended as much as they were just really bad at it. I don't know if it was extended by design. I think they were just really bad at playing zone defense. The thing that helped, and you've talked about this, Mark, a little bit, the thing that helped against Iowa State pressured Cincinnati. And when Cincinnati beat that pressure, they beat the Iowa State defense because Iowa State's overextended. I think it allowed for when they took mid-range jumpers, they were really good on mid-range jumpers against Iowa State. Why? Because a lot of times when they take mid-range jumpers, they're trying to dribble sideways away from a defender. They're not moving north and south. Against Iowa State, they did such a good job beating that pressure that they were dribbling into shots. Jizzle and Dede can hit those shots. They're just much more likely to hit them when they're dribbling into a pull-up as opposed to when they're sidestepping 8 feet, to get away from somebody. And then your body's not set, your shoulders aren't square, your footwork's inconsistent. But when you were able to step into it, like if you watch those 2 jumpers they made at the end,
those were huge.
But they were both dribble step in. They were in rhythm. They weren't off balance. They were able to get their feet set, their shoulders square, step into the shots and hit them, as opposed to you're in tight quarters and the shot clock's running down and you're just trying to create some level of separation to get a shot up on the rim. I think that was a big part of it is, yes, I still hate mid-range jumpers. They're still the worst shot in basketball. But there are times when your guy is in rhythm shooting it off the downhill where they can just pull up, shoot over a soft defense without a lot of pressure. It's a much more stomachable shot at that point than it is some of the other ones that they've taken. Brian, I'm a huge fan.
This might be some of my dumbass friends finding their ways in here. I think it is, yeah. There's
Both
some
of
good
them, Drew
Bearcat
and
fans, though.
Con.
Yeah, Drew and Con. There's some pretty big hoops fans.
You'd love to see a shot chart on the team this year. They're out there. There's too many. They're one of the worst in terms of distance on 2-point shots. They're one of the worst teams in the country. I think they average like 8 feet. I mean, we got the whole crew. Are they together watching the national championship?
They're definitely
heckling you.
Definitely. Let me see it.
We'll have Brian work on that shot chart.
Yeah,
Brian, get that shot chart for us.
Yeah, there must be doing something. We got a screenshot of me sent in the group chat right now. But hey, welcome, boys. Thanks for joining.
Welcome.
MLK National Championship.
Any news on when Kerr may be back? I think he's hoping to be back Wednesday, but I do not have any word yet on if he has started practicing. And if he's not practicing, he's not going to play. I think they had to take
a solid job stepping in, though. He played
Tillery's
solid.
Been really good.
Yeah, just doing his job. Being able to facilitate the ball. Yeah, he's exceeded my expectations.
He pressures the hell out of the ball, man. I mean, he gets after it defensively.
I don't even think that exceeded expectations is a fair assessment because, at least me personally, I'd said that I didn't think he was ready for Big 12, and he has definitely looked the part.
Yeah. And a game like that where we're playing well and you're playing against a good team, Buck Harris just means so much. Just picking up the guys, kind of feeding into the momentum and the energy of the team, the fans at the point in the game. So I feel like if we can keep playing better, I think it just kind of elevates Buck's style because we know we're not going to get him making threes, and there's going to be a couple times in the game where he's going to throw up some crazy shit in the paint and we're all going to scream at the TV, but it doesn't get as bad when everyone else around him is playing well and they're winning and he's picking up guys, pressuring the ball 94 feet. So the chaos doesn't feel as detrimental.
If he just stopped shooting threes, he'd be great.
This is something you can probably speak to. Buck is an energy giver, right? You need guys like that on your team. There are guys that are energy takers that everybody's got to constantly try to pick up, and everybody's trying to hey, come on, it's okay, man. Let's get back. Let's a bad play affect them. Let's a bad series affect them. And then there are guys like Buck. Justin Jackson was a different type player, but the same type of energy. It didn't matter. He was going 900 miles an hour at all times.
Yeah, and it definitely helps boost the team. When they're winning, it feels more impactful. But yeah, I love that style. That's the type of style that's going to help us, keep stringing some wins together. And it's fun to watch him play when things are going well.
Yeah.
But yeah, any word on Big Slime? I think Drew Size is really concerned about him.
There's no word on Big Slime. He's not practicing yet.
Drew, don't ask stupid questions.
No, I mean, look, as soon as there's positive news on that, we're going to share it. It's what we do. That's literally our job is to get news like that out there. He's just.
I'm going to sneak into the training room and get his med sheet pulled, and we'll release it live on air. Maybe I might. I think campus police might be pulling me out of my room though afterwards.
Yeah, I hope everybody enjoys your last podcast.
It's that on top of the Mr. Bearcat cosign paper bags. Throw those two together and sayonara.
You guys got anything else on the Iowa State game?
No, great, huge win. Wait, Chad, what is I guess this will be I'll throw it in the riffing section. Never mind. We'll throw it down the line.
Okay. I was just going to say, Ryan, as a player, number 2 at home, number 1 on the road in a matter of 4 days. Like, what is the mindset to navigate that? To try to and you've knocked off number 2 at home. Now you get number 1 on the road. What's the mindset to get through this week?
It's, intensity's got to be, you got to find ways to take the intensity up even more. I find it very comparable to our Indiana Notre Dame. We knew it was like, hey, the season is kind of like rests on these 2 weeks, and we just dove deep. We just tried to find extra ways, like more film study, pre and post practice, really locked in, no messing around types of stuff, which didn't go well with a guy like me who was always trying to be a flip dick at practice. So I would just say it's just finding extra ways to get the edge, because you're going against teams they're 1 and 2 in the country for a reason. So it's intensity's up a notch, but it really helps when you win that first one. You beat Iowa State, confidence builds. You're like, hey, they're one of the best teams in the country, and we showed that we can not only hang in there, but we can beat them. We can be the better team. So it's just taking what we did versus Iowa State and trying to find ways to build off of what we did in preparation and take it to another level. Because I think we can all agree that this task at Arizona is a steeper one than Iowa State. But it's great having that confidence, knowing that you can go there, beat those teams, and just looking to lean on that and stay close as a unit in the prep.
The thing is, Iowa State's got 3 guys. Like, essentially, in terms of their offensive production, they have 3 guys, and if you can slow down 2 of them, which Cincinnati did a great job on the point guard, Lipsy.
Yeah.
And they did a really good job on Jefferson to make things difficult for him, who is kind of the centerpiece of their offense. Momcilovic went crazy, especially, I mean, it felt like he scored 20 points in the final 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Momcilovic went crazy, but that was the only one of the 3 that really ever got a rhythm, that ever got into their bag, so to speak.
Who else was going to – he shot every shot. He shot every shot down the stretch. Who else was going to even have the chance to get into their bag?
I mean –
yeah, and I thought – I mean, I didn't feel like we were having a lot of miscues there. He was just, he was in the flow.
Shots.
Yeah, he was in the flow, and I was like, God, dude, if this is – you could see it start to build. It's like this guy might be able to get him, within a one possession line. Yeah, and if it wasn't for those 2 shots by Jizzle and Day there, those tough middies, because how many times have we watched this team have those shots just not go in, and then
Buck's
next
free
thing
throws too.
Yeah,
the pass to Buck for the layup right through traffic from Baba.
Oh yeah, and the missed dunk. I was like, oh my God, I was like, this can't happen. It can't happen again. Please, God, please make it stop.
And they went down and hit a 3 immediately.
Yeah. Well, no, because they had did they miss? I think they turned it over because Buck made a good play on defense. He either knocked it.
No, he blocked it out of bounds, and then I think they hit a 3 off of it.
Then they hit a 3.
Yeah.
So it was that.
I was like, oh, great save. I was like, great save. He saved it there. He might have made it a net 0 instead of being like the -5 that it turned into. But yeah, thank God we weathered that storm.
Here's the problem. They've got 5 guys considered significant contributors that are all capable of putting 20 on you. Burries, Bradley, Pete, Del Orso, and Awaka. And Awaka doesn't even start. And then they've got the 2 kind of role players, 6'7" Karchinkov, the 6'7" wing freshman, and then Krivas, who's a 7'2" junior, who gives them really good minutes. And then Aristoti, the other freshman, who's a 6'8" wing, who plays about 40% of their minutes. And all of those dudes do something at a high level.
Yeah.
So
we're going to need another top 10 defensive performance coupled with probably 10 combined threes from Jizzle, Day, and Celestine to be in the picture.
I mean,
It's not going to be.
the thing that impresses me the most with Arizona is how balanced they are. They're 6th in KenPom on offense. They're 3rd on defense. Their effective field goal percentage on offense, 20th in the country. On defense, 16 in the country. They're rebounding, 4th in the country on offensive rebounding, which that's going to be, if Cincinnati's got any chance, they're going to have to keep Arizona off the offensive boards because they are elite at it. And then they're 11th in the country in defensive rebounding. So they only give up 25% of their missed shots that they force. Only 25% turn into an offensive rebound. I mean, they are, if you go down the list, they're good at everything on both ends of the floor.
Yeah.
The only thing they don't do.
And we're on the road.
The only thing they don't do, now they shoot 3-pointers well. It's 36.5% as a team. They're 47th in the country in field goal percentage on threes. But they're 363rd. They're last in the country in 3-pointer attempts per game. So they do not shoot the three a lot. They play downhill. They shoot layups. They dunk the ball. They do actually shoot more mid-range than most teams, but they're really good at it. So, stopping this Arizona team is a monumental task. I mean, you look at it, man. They beat UConn, they beat UCLA, they beat Florida, they beat Auburn, they beat Alabama. They're a beast.
Yeah.
They're a beast.
Another good litmus test. Let's see, we've hung in there with some of the best teams in the country. We've got a win now against one of the best teams in the country. Trying to find a way to utilize that confidence, knowing that, we're good enough to go play with the best teams. And now we showed that we can beat one, being able to show up in that mindset and do what we do well. And, we're going to need some kind of hero ball in ways from some of our guys. We're going to need a Mustafa Cham to play like he played at UCF. We're going to need Celestine to be able to hit, he hit 3 threes in the first half. Pretty quick, and then he kind of fell off, the rest of the game. But this has got to be a big Day Thomas game. Jizzle's got to take care of the ball, get his 12 to 16 points, and see what happens.
Ryan, you were around though. You were around when Fickle was going through his beginning, and when things started off, it wasn't good. He gets his first signature win. How much does that mean to a team that you can finally get over that hump?
Yeah, it's huge. And we talk about that UCLA road win a lot and at that moment, it was like we were waiting for that moment all off season. We were prepared for it. And it was like, this is our time to go showcase, who we are. It's a little bit different, for us, because that was game 1 of the season. Yeah. Or was it game 2? I can't remember.
Anyways, game 1.
It wasn't like we were struggling and then like we had a win to kind of get back on track. It's a little bit different, but having that win versus Iowa State is huge, just for confidence, for guys to believe, in the system that they're running and fruits of the labor. But it's, you got to look at it like, hey, they're the best team in the country for a reason. And if we want to go, prove it to ourselves and, prove it to, the country that, we belong and we can compete, this is the time to do it. So you can't go out there and get ran out of the gym. That's if they can, keep it within 10 points down the stretch and, have a couple looks at it at the end, I'll be pleased with that, because I don't think any of us are going in there expecting a win, but just competing and, showing we belong is key. I know it sounds kind of, it sounds soft to say, but it's hard. You just got to go in there and, expect to compete with these guys and try to steal a win. Because they're going to do what they do good.
Some context. I believe Iowa State was predicted to be a 5-point victory for Iowa State on Ken Pom.
What do you think? 5.5.
What do you think the number is for Arizona? What's the final score that Ken Pom predicts for this Arizona game?
80-67.
75-62.
Okay.
82-65. Ken Pom predicts a 17-point loss. That's how good Arizona is.
Yeah.
That's how good Arizona is.
I know. It hurts me to beat on the drum of, hey, just, go in there and compete. And because, I'm always the guy you got to expect to win. And especially against these good teams, but just, realistically, it's more about not getting ran off the floor and competing.
Yeah. And giving yourself a chance in the final 7 minutes, 6 minutes, whatever.
And if it's a situation like it was versus Houston at home, where we kind of we haven't beat them, and we're like, all right, let's just go out there and compete. And the next thing you know, you're up 10 points, and you have the game. The game is winnable. Then it's a different conversation. I'm not saying that we're going to be in that spot again, but if we are, it's building off of what we just did versus Iowa State, where we weren't really expecting us to win that game, but we played like the better team. We had the lead and we maintained it, and we didn't fall apart. And showing that growth, that if we're able to be in that spot in Arizona, we're up 6 points with 5 minutes to go freaking win the game. You prove that you can win it. But
look,
I think it's when we're going to be like, hey, keep it within 10 points, try to get it down to a possession there. That seems a lot more realistic than being in the shoes that we are in Houston and Iowa State.
UC just went toe-to-toe with UCF. They lost on a late, a shot with 7 seconds left or whatever it was. UCF was within 4 of Arizona in the final 5 minutes. So you can do it. You're going to have to defend as well as they've defended all year. They're going to have to keep Arizona off the offensive glass. That's what Cincinnati does best, is defensive rebounding for this team. So limit them to 1 shot, get the rebound. They've done a good job of late getting more shots than their opponents. 1, by forcing turnovers. 2, by being better on the offensive glass than their opponent is. That's going to be a hell of a challenge against Arizona. But if they take 8, 9, 10 more shots than Arizona does, they've got a chance to make this interesting.
Yeah.
If not, go ahead.
I was just saying, we got to do what we do well.
Yeah.
Play good defense, rebound the basketball. Those are essential keys going on the road against a good team. If you let those 2 things slip, you're not going to have a chance.
Yeah.
It's a pretty simple analysis by me, I know, but you gotta do what you do good, and then you gotta expand and excel in the other areas. 3-point shooting, no turnovers, free throws. You aren't going to be in a chance to win the game if you don't hit those 5 keys.
Baba Miller still battling with Ernest Uday for number 1 defensive rebounder in the country. Baba right now 2nd. Uday pulled ahead a little bit. He must have had a hell of a game on the glass. They were 1/10 of a point from each other going into the weekend. Now Uday is at 33.6% of the defensive rebounds he gets, and Baba 31.5. So you have an elite defensive rebounder. Baba's got to go get it done on the defensive glass and hope you make some shots. All right, let's timestamp that. Brought to you by Quick Paper Supply, your local and family-owned restaurant supply company for all your non-food products. Quick Paper services over 150 restaurants with weekly low minimum next day deliveries. They provide a wide range of food service products from to-go containers, cups, custom printed products, eco-friendly, and much more. They also have cleaning and restroom supplies for all your janitorial needs. Call Nick 513-470-2029 and reference Bearcats for 20% off your first month of purchases. All right, let's get to a little riffing with Royer, mailbag it, and get the hell out of here. Ryan, riffing with Royer, take it away.
All right, we kind of went through my questions. What's it going to be to keep it close versus Arizona? I think we kind of hit that there in that.
Make shots. Make a lot of shots, because even if your defense is really good, Arizona's going to score. You're not going to hold them in check. You're not keeping Arizona in the 60-point range. I mean, they scored 69 against UCLA, 68 against San Diego State. Every other Connecticut, they scored 71. Every other game has been 84 and up, and you've got 93, 93, 103, 98, 97, 96, 96, 107, 99, 97. They scored 97 on Utah, 101 on Kansas State, 86 on TCU, 89 on Arizona State, 84 on UCF. 84 is their lowest point total in Big 12 play.
When was the last time Cincinnati scored more than 84?
89 against Lipscomb Aaron, 88 against Alabama State.
Not great.
94 against NJIT. But let's take the high major games. Louisville 64, Xavier 74, Georgia 65, Clemson 65, Houston 60, West Virginia 60, UCF 72. And then 77 and 79, the last two games against Colorado and Iowa State.
Trending up.
You're also now playing the number 3 team in the country.
Yep.
Yeah, dictate pace. That's make shots and be really good on the defensive glass. You've got to, if you turn it over, if you miss a bunch of shots, Cincinnati's not a great offensive rebounding team. Arizona is an elite defensive rebounding team. They're going to get it and go. So you've got to make shots to slow them down. So good point, Jared. It's just doesn't seem likely. This is not a team that regularly shoots a high percentage, and they're playing the number 3 defense in the country. To think Cincinnati's going to come out and shoot 52% from the floor and 38% from 3, I don't have a lot of faith and confidence that that's going to be the case when Aaron and I are here at 11:30 on Monday night or Wednesday night recapping the game.
But wouldn't that be fun?
It would be great. It would be awesome. It just doesn't seem that.
Yeah. All right. If the Bearcats are able to pull off a win at Arizona, where does that rank in your guys' memory of biggest road wins?
Beating Arizona's not just number 1, Royer. Do you know what percentage of the AP number 1 votes do you think they got this week?
I'm not familiar how it works. How many are there?
There's like 70. 70.
Then I know the answer because I know how many they got.
Let's call it
they got
95%.
They got all of them. They are a unanimous number 1.
Yeah.
Unanimous. So getting wins over number 1, not easy to do. Getting wins over number 1 in their house when it's a unanimous number 1, everybody has got Arizona number 1. It would be maybe the most surprising UC win of my lifetime, especially when you consider a week ago, we're talking about wearing paper bags to the game, and then they beat number 2 and number 1 back to back with number 1 being on the road. I don't know that I would ever be more shocked about anything in UC athletics.
Bigger surprise than Duke in the Alaskan Shootout, the Great Alaskan Shootout.
Yeah, that was a great UC team.
I'm saying that I think that's why you
Yeah.
can make that case. Yes, it was a
Yeah.
great Duke team, but it was a great UC team as well. So I'm with you. I think that this would supersede probably anything.
Yeah, it would be
that we can remember.
The best road win that I remember was SK's team going down and beating Russ Smith's team at Louisville. And those were two top 10 teams. Like that wasn't a shock to anybody that Cincinnati won that game, but it was a super high level game, back and forth. Cincinnati got up big, Louisville came back. Like that was a slugfest. And then obviously they came up here and paid Cincinnati back with that Russ Smith 17-footer at the buzzer. But I don't think I could. I don't think I could pinpoint another win that would be bigger than this.
I guess you could compare it to football taking out Ron Dane and Wisconsin.
Maybe, yeah.
Because it was not a good team that took out a team that was really damn good.
Yeah, I mean, that team won the Rose Bowl. They won the Big Ten, won the Rose Bowl. Like, without that loss, Wisconsin might have been national champion that year. And because they lost to Cincinnati, it wiped it out. So, yeah. I can't think of a basketball win that would register as more surprising than if they were to win on Wednesday. Rutgers 2006. Yeah. They were 3, I think. Pretty sure they were in the top 5. I don't remember exactly where they were when that game kicked off, but it was shocking. It was absolutely shocking.
Times like this, you need Brent and his encyclopedia of a memory. And instead, he's losing brain cells watching IU play Miami.
That guy's unbelievable. All right, Ryan. What was that? What was that one you and Brent were texting about in the group chat when Brent's texts weren't coming through? And so it was just us talking, and then Brent responding to us like he was there, but then also like he was in a movie and he was dead and we were still alive, and he's trying to like talk to us and tell us stuff, but we can't hear him. And I'm sure he was freaking out. What was that one question?
Yeah, it's because we can use Brent's appearance at the national championship game. What's the biggest sporting event that you've ever attended that held the most monumental circumstances?
That's a good one.
Mine's easy.
I know we went to a handful of playoff games in the 1990 Reds season. That we didn't get into the World Series, but we got into like the NLCS, and I think the divisional round or whatever. But we were there for a couple games as the Reds were on their path to a World Series.
Yeah,
Garrett says CFP 2021. That's
mine. I got this there. Yeah.
Ryan? Easy answer is the playoff game for me. But let's see, what type of playoff games have I been to? I went to a Blue Jackets playoff game when they beat the Lightning. And the Lightning were the number 1 team in the NHL. That had to be really the only. I haven't been to a lot of like huge, like playoff atmospheres other than Blue Jackets hockey. I mean, I went to the Big Ten championship game when Ohio State played Wisconsin and they beat the shit out of them 59-0. But I don't give a shit about the Buckeyes. They don't matter to me at all. So
that's a big one, Gina. The Memphis win in the Final Four, beating them the 4th time to go to that 92 Final Four.
You could argue the Notre Dame game was as big as any of them, because if you don't beat Notre Dame, you don't get to the
and
CFP
to go
at all.
into and that was the game. That was the only game Notre Dame lost that season.
Yeah.
If not for you guys, Notre Dame's in the playoff and you're not.
Yep.
Not many people go in there and win in an environment like that. And also,
it was Bearcat environment
over Notre Dame Stadium.
Yeah,
the Bearcats took over Notre Dame Stadium.
As cool as the conference championship game was, like brushing the field, knowing what that victory propelled us to, just how special that was. All the fans and the players there together celebrating, just being in Notre Dame Stadium as the Bearcat fans took over and chanting "Let's go
red.
Bearcats."
Yeah.
Dude, that was unbelievable. So that's up there too. But running out the stadium at Jerry World, seeing all the half full of Cincinnati fans, you can't looking across the sideline, seeing Nick Saban. You can't. I don't think it's possible to top that. Obviously, the result didn't go how we wanted it to go, but just running out of that tunnel, I'll never forget that. So that's an easy one to list off. But probably the Blue Jackets playoff game against the Lightning would have to be mine.
Walking out on that field probably 10 minutes before kickoff, right before you guys ran out of the tunnel, because I was out there a bunch during warm-ups and stuff, and they used it like the stadium hadn't settled yet, so you didn't have a great feel for it. But then like 10 minutes before kickoff, you go out there and it literally is 50% UC fans. And you're just like, wow, this is real.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're really about to play Alabama in the fucking college football playoff with a chance to win a national championship. That was special for sure.
That was Derek Jeter's last full game when he played the Red Sox, actually the second to last game of the season. That was probably the closest thing I have.
Man.
Closest thing I have other than the CFP.
Yeah.
I saw Bo Jackson play live. That was pretty cool for me.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy happened. I think he did hit one 450 feet in that game that we were at, but just getting to, I still think he's the greatest athlete to ever live.
Yeah. I went and saw Shohei Ohtani pitch against the Reds last year. That was pretty cool to witness, being what he's going to go down as, arguably the best baseball player ever.
Greg says beating Penn State in Happy Valley in '83. I was 6, so
I was not born. I don't get to say that very often when we talk.
Jared said, I still watch celebrations from the Notre Dame and AAC championship games with a bottle of lotion and Kleenex. Take me back.
It's because he's crying because he's so emotional, but then
Yes.
wintertime. It's wintertime.
So
hands,
emotional.
Yeah, your hands are very dry and
from clapping. Like you gotta hydrate. Holla if you hydrate. All right. Good stuff on Riffing with Royer. Let's get to let's go straight to the mailbag so people can get out of here. We've got a better crowd than I expected, but
did you
10-0 Indiana.
Did you want to talk at all about the new OCs, the co-OCs, before we get into the mailbag?
Sure. I mean, I think it's what we all expected when I let everybody know that my understanding was Brad Glenn would be moving on. I think they did the right thing. They promoted 2 guys that deserve a promotion. Pete Thomas has done a great job in the quarterback room. Nick Cardwell has done an even better job, you could argue, in the offensive line room. You let one of them run the pass game, one of them run the ground attack, and you make them co-offensive coordinators. I think it was the logical move. Satterfield is still calling plays. So to me, it didn't make sense to go bring in a new offensive coordinator. You had your wide receivers coach already in place, and BJ Stingley, who was largely coaching that room to begin with. So your thoughts, Ryan? I think it was the right move to get those guys promotions.
Yeah, I completely agree. So no real input other than what you listed.
And look, I think if you lost either of those guys, like you'd have lost some of your players, because those are guys that are big in that culture and guys that are respected in that locker room. Like,
yeah.
How much were you guys affected when you lost Marcus Freeman? Real question.
Obviously, his relationship with us was huge, but it was more about like what he built in that linebacker room and on the defense. That was all still there. So I didn't feel there was a ton of drop off because of, the players, we were all super close, and we knew the expectation. Like I've said before, like Coach Fickle, he didn't call the defense, but he, him and Freeman were, scheming up our call sheet, throughout the whole time that Freeman was there. So Fickle was, he was the head coach, but he was really the defensive coordinator building the scheme up throughout the whole week. And then, Freeman, obviously being directly in line with him, would call the plays based on what they, developed. So it was good. Tressel was a great, like, analytical, like, scheme coach. So he filled in well, like, to partner with Fickle, but just kind of, not having Freeman's, player relationship recruiting was a lot bigger of a hit than like X's and O's wise.
Well, I'm happy they don't lose either of those guys. I just think that that's massive for going forward. Like Chad said, you potentially lose some guys, especially on that offensive line. It makes your team stronger having both those guys elevated, and with one being in charge of the run plan, one being in charge of the pass plan. I think that's really all you could want out of somebody who's taking on co-OC under the play caller Scott Satterfield. But
all right, do we have enough QB talent coming in for next year? Hell if I know. We'll find out. I need to see the kid play. I like the tape I've watched on JC French. I think systematically it's a fit. I think he's a rhythm guy. Get the ball out quick. Let your guys make plays. I think they've gone out and added guys that are good once you get the ball in their hands, that can make plays after the catch. Is it going to work? No idea. I'll hopefully have a better idea after watching him play a bunch in spring practice. But as it stands right now, I don't know yet. And I'd be lying to you if I said I did.
If it does work and JC French looks like the second coming of Brendan Sorsby, though, what kind of geniuses do Satterfield and Pete Thomas look like? My goodness. And Zach Grant. Yeah.
Look, it wasn't like there was a bunch of people when Brendan Sorsby left Indiana that were like, oh my God, in a couple years, this guy's going to be a star. Nobody said that. So we'll see if they can do it again.
Just be interesting. Let's timestamp real quick and get to the Greg Hoodin read for the mailbag.
Timestamp brought to you by Quick Paper Supply. They provide mostly disposable restaurant supplies, to-go containers, cups, pizza boxes, to-go bags, can liners, napkins. They've been open since 2009 and are one of the largest minority-owned companies in the city. Call Nick 513-470-2029 and reference Bearcats for 20% off your first month of purchases. That brings us to the mailbag, brought to you by our guy, Greg Hoodin. Greg, were you at the Penn State game in 1983?
Bold question, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off.
I'm just curious. He's talking about it like he's got some history with that game. I'm just curious if he was there. I don't think that's a bold strategy. Were you at the game, Greg? That's you, the Greg Hoodin mailbag. If you're looking for a quality new or used Toyota, all you got to do, go to Beachmont Toyota, ask for Greg Hoodin. He will get you taken care of. Also, you can find him on social media. Just call him old next time. Jeez. He was in high school. He could have been there. Greg doesn't look that old, but he had an affinity for that 1983 game. I didn't know if maybe he made the trip to Happy Valley for that one. Dang, Jared. But yeah, if you're looking for him, you can find him on social media at Cincy Greg Hoodin, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, you name it. Greg is there. He will get your questions answered and get you into a new or gently used Toyota. Beachmont Toyota. Go ask for Greg. All right, Aaron, let's do this.
Let's get to it. Not a ton, so we will get through as quickly as we can. Starting off in the football portion of the mailbag, and which former Bearcat will increase their NFL stock most next year? Brendan Sorsby at Tech, Manny Covey at Memphis, or Evan Pryor at Florida?
I think only one of them has NFL stock to increase, so I'll go Brendan Sorsby. I don't see Manny Covey or Evan Pryor playing in the NFL.
I would say that as far as increasing your NFL stock, people were talking about Sorsby as a first rounder. I don't know how much higher he's going to be elevated at Tech than he was at Cincinnati.
Aaron, if Brendan Sorsby was a first rounder or could have been a first rounder, he would be in the NFL draft. That was not in the cards. That's why he's in Texas Tech.
All right.
Look, if you get drafted in the first round, you are guaranteed a lot more than he was going to make, or he is going to make at Texas Tech. And if you're any good, you get to that second contract a lot faster. That is insane money if you're a starting quarterback in the NFL. So
well, if you're defining who increases, how are you defining most? Who increases it the most next year? If you go from not drafted, you don't think Evan Pryor is going to be drafted, and he goes to a fifth round, a sixth round, maybe that's most compared to whatever Sorsby was going to be and where he ends up. I don't know. It just depends on how you're defining most.
I guess
who increases
fair,
it
but
the most? I don't know.
I don't think the other two have draft stock to increase. Like I don't see Evan Pryor or Manny Covey playing it down in the NFL.
Look, I'm with you. I just wonder if maybe if we're taking the wild card, maybe Evan Pryor ends up most improved. We'll see.
A change of pace back that's often injured and is like a 5-10 touch a game guy.
I agree.
I don't see it. I
agree. I'm also not trying to waste any more breath on this show talking about former Bearcats. Moving on.
Fair. Killer V, let's keep it to current Bearcats. How about that?
And you can do old Bearcats, like old.
I prefer we keep it to current Bearcats.
Any idea of when the Big 12 releases the football schedule? Also, any idea what spring schedule looks like for the team yet?
The Big 12 football schedule reveal show will air on ESPNU Wednesday at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. I do not know what the spring schedule looks like. Generally, it starts the week before spring break and then goes the 4 weeks after spring break leading up to the spring game. So Big 12 football release schedule Wednesday, spring schedule, whatever spring break is. I haven't looked it up to really know for certain yet. But whenever spring break starts, the first 3 practices are the week before. The next 12 practices, 3 practices a week, are the 4 weeks after.
All right. And wrapping up the football portion of the mailbag, can you share any Bearcats that went into the portal, then asked if they could come back?
I don't know that there are any I can think of. Here's the thing, Merk. These national guys have access to the portal. So when you go into the portal, they are reporting what's happening in the portal. So if you see it, that guy has entered their name officially into the portal. It pops up and the national guys report it. So if you go back and watch with Zach Grant on Thursday, he talks a lot about the process at UC and how detailed and how specific that process is. If they want to keep you and they're willing to pony up and kind of do the negotiating thing, that's going to end before that decision to enter the portal happens far more often than not. I can't think of any guys that went into the portal and then asked if they could come back. Now maybe look, if you put your name in and then you're going to end up being one of those 2,000 guys or whatever that doesn't find a landing spot, I'm sure there's a chance you're going to go back to Cincinnati and go, hey, I screwed up, guys. Can I come back? And they're probably going to say no.
Well, I mean to.
What had happened was no.
That ends the football portion of the mailbag. Moving on to the basketball portion. Would hiring a new bench coach as a game manager be the way to go rather than firing West for a year to give him one last chance and to lower buyout? Even more be the way to go, like other big programs have done with older coaches that don't want the vigors of being the lead guy. West can recruit and the players seem to like him. Game management and accountability seems to be his weakness that a game manager could resolve if given the opportunity.
Look, Speed, Wes has been a head coach at the college level for 15 years. You generally do that, like we're bringing in a veteran, older coach to help a young guy. Wes has been a coach for 15 years. Like he's either good enough or he's not good enough. He has passed the holding hands phase. So get this team into the tournament, or there's probably going to be a coaching search. Like that's just the reality. Like everybody's trying to find, and I get it. Like it felt like this season was over in the middle of December. I get it that as things play out over 3 months, everybody's trying to like think of a new slant, think of a new angle. He gets in the tournament or he doesn't. This guy's been a head coach for 15 years. Like, well, you don't need somebody to babysit.
He also should have been aware enough to know that the seat was a little warm going into this season. And if you were going to do something like this, you do that before this season, not going into next season.
Correct.
Yep.
Which player on the Bearcats is 1, the best, 2, the most important, 3, the MVP?
Baba.
Same answer.
I would say Baba, and then Jizzle seems to be pretty important when he's stepped into the lineup, just how this team has evolved. So maybe there's an argument there for Jizzle at number 2, and then, Baba 3 as well.
I mean, I think you could also make an argument for Day as the MVP, just as a leader. You could make an argument. I don't think you would win that argument, but you could make the argument that Day is MVP level important to this team. But the best player is Baba. The most important player is Baba. The MVP is Baba. He's also in a couple of the metrics. He's a top 5 individual defender in the country. Ask Josh Jefferson what he thought about Baba as an individual defender. And he's the number 2 rebound. Like this thing without Baba Miller.
He was a late ad.
Buddy. Yeah, he's the last ad, essentially. They added Jordy and Atari, but yeah. Baba. So it's a toddler or an infant wanting a meal. Baba.
Yes.
We struggle mightily when it's under 12 seconds, game on the line, down 1 to 2 points, inbounding the ball from full court. What would be your plan of attack? Because this dribbling the ball from basically the baseline to position to score isn't working. My plan would involve throwing the ball to midcourt with many ball handlers in. Line up Baba, Sean, Dede, Jizzle, Celestine.
I don't mind it because 12 seconds is a lot of time to get down. Maybe throw in a higher ball screen with like a guy
he's talking about from under the opponent's basket, like against full court pressure.
Oh, okay.
I mean, throwing the ball to mid court, the ball is in the air for a long time. You're giving defenders a long time to make a play on the ball. I do not like that unless there's a second, 2 seconds left. And you have to get the ball as far up the court as you can to get a clean look. With 12 seconds left, I'm not throwing the ball to midcourt. The answer, Pat, is you have to do a better job scheming your guys open so that you can get the ball to them in space that's not in those corners, because that's really where they get in trouble. They're inbounding into those short corners that you've got 2 defenders and 2 sidelines. You're boxed. You can't move. You're trapped. And they're not going to foul you there because they're just going to wall up and try to make you make a play over the top of them. West needs to do a better job, and the players need to do a better job designing action and executing action that gets them open before they get all the way over into that corner. And the inbounder has to know, unless you're at 4 on the count, you can't inbound the ball there. But yet they do it a lot. I agree it's a problem. I just don't think throwing the ball up to midcourt in that situation is any better than the problem that you're already in.
All right. I've noticed in the last 2 games a concerted effort on the offensive glass to get a hand on the ball and tip it out to a teammate when you can't secure the rebound yourself. Houston-like. Have they been working on this in practice? What a difference it makes.
It's definitely good.
Probably just helps the athletic of 6'11" Baba Miller, 7'2" Mustafa Cham. Just, they're always going to have more guys around the hoop for a defensive rebound. So it's smart. Like, we got guys that are athletic and go up and jump and get the ball out to the top where more numbers are for us to be able to go grab it. It just seems to play well with who we have.
One thing I would definitively say about that, Ryan, one thing Baba is great at is high pointing the ball. If you can get up at 6'11" and get that back tap before anybody else has a chance to get to it, you can generally get some clean ones. The danger, and this happened twice against Iowa State, is that you tap it to a guy that's half facing the other way.
Yeah.
And can just take the defensive rebound and sprint it down the floor. You have to be careful you're not starting a fast break. That was what I'm getting at with too many words. But they have done a lot of attempting that on the offensive glass. I wonder how much is some of it like they just aren't they don't have the bulk to be a great offensive rebounding team where they're just going to beat you if you're trying to box them out. So it's definitely happened a lot more, Pat, for sure. I've noticed it as well. I wonder just how much of it is. We have 2 guys that can go up and tip the ball before anybody else can get to it. So let's use that as a strategy to try to keep the ball as opposed to trying to just physically beat people on the offensive glass, because this is not a team built with big, burly bigs that can just, physically beat a box out. They have to beat it up top.
With Day, Jizzle, and Baba all closing in on 1,000-point careers scoring mark, do you remember a time when 3 Bearcats did that in the same season?
I'm terrible to add. That would be a Brent question. Bath, can you ask that next week? I bet Brent would have a great idea. I mean, the closest...
Or he'll research and find out.
Yeah, the closest I could think would be back on that Troy, Jake, Gary, Kevin, Jaron, Kyle. Most of those guys ended up 1,000-point scorers. I just don't know when it would have been in terms of like the year breakdown. But in volume of 1,000-point scorers, I think they, maybe not Kevin, but I think the rest of them got there to where I don't know, but I don't know the timeline on like when they got there.
That ends the basketball portion of the mailbag. Nothing in the baseball mailbag. We'll check that out again next week.
We will. You know what we will have next week, Aaron?
Bishop?
Jordan Bishop right here on this show.
Nice. Our guy.
Baseball preview next Monday night on the BBP. And then I'm going to work on the week after that, Nico Palazetti. So hopefully a couple member favorites coming up here in the next couple weeks.
Moving on to the banks. 2 last questions here. What is a skill, talent, or game you are better at than anyone else in the room? I've talked about this before, but for me, it is karaoke.
Mine might be billiards. I'm a solid billiards player. Nothing close to professional, but I could show up to a dive bar and stay on the table.
I'd need a little bit of time to reacclimate, but I could play a mean game of ping pong back in the day. That was like a Brendel family thing. The Brendel family, a lot of ping pong over the years. There's a table in my grandma's basement for a while. And then as everybody moved and got older, it became like a place where my grandma put laundry. But it was still down there. You could still see the remnants of ping pong in the Brendel family basement. But yeah, I could play pretty good ping pong there for a long time.
Nice.
And the last question, Stranger Things or Ozark or Yellowstone or Breaking Bad or Sopranos?
Sopranos.
This is
for me.
No one's surprised with that answer for you.
Is anyone going to be surprised when I say I can tell you I have not watched more than 3 episodes of any of these shows?
No, not at all.
I do want to. There's a show I want to get into.
Oh, here we go.
Can you guess?
Is it the Billy Bob one?
Yeah, Landman.
Landman?
Yeah. I want to get into it. I haven't had time or a chance to get into it. That might be like a spring, summer thing, like once the schedule slows down. But I'd really like to get into that show. It looks awesome.
Yeah.
I watched 4 seasons of Stranger Things. I haven't watched any of the 5th. Ozark was good, but I don't know that I'll ever go back and rewatch it. Yellowstone, it couldn't keep my attention. Breaking Bad was excellent, and Sopranos was the best of all of these listed.
Well put.
So that
not a TV guy.
That is the mailbag, Chad. Get us out of here.
All right, that's going to do it. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. Enjoy your Monday night. We'll be back tomorrow to get you ready for Wednesday night with Arizona. I still have to talk to Dave. I'm guessing we'll go Thursday. Might have to start at 8:30 on Thursday. I know, Aaron. I know.
Wrestling.
Talk to the Big 12. Complain to the Big 12. I'd rather go at like 7:30 on Wednesday and do like a pregame show. Try that out. But stay tuned. We'll figure it out one way or the other. That's the BBP. Brought to you by Danco Transmission, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya.